Life inside Angola Prison. How inmates survive America's most feared penitentiary before this story pulls you under. Subscribe, like, and comment if you're ready to walk into the darkest prison in America. Because once these gates close, there's no turning back. The body was found just before dawn, face down in the mud at the edge of the prison farm. A guard spotted it from a distance, motionless between rows of sugarcane, boots half buried in the wet Louisiana soil. For a moment, no one moved. At Angola Prison, you learn quickly that stillness can be more dangerous than chaos. The inmate's name was Marcus Reed, 32 years old, serving life without parole. By official reports, it was an incident under investigation. Unofficially, everyone knew what it meant. Marcus had broken a rule, one that was never written down. Angola Prison isn't just a facility. It's a world sealed off by razor wire and history, built on land that once held enslaved men and now holds their descendants in different chains. With over 18,000 acres of isolation, it's the largest maximum security prison in the United States, and for many inmates, the last place they will ever live or die. Marcus arrived 3 years earlier on a prison bus that rattled like it was falling apart. New arrivals sat stiff, eyes forward, hands folded, pretending not to notice the long stares from men who had already memorized the rules of survival. Strength meant nothing here. Reputation meant everything. The first lesson came fast. Don't sit just anywhere. Don't ask questions. Don't look too long at another man's plate, shoes, or face. And never assume silence means safety. Marcus struggled with that last rule. He wasn't loud. He wasn't violent. But he noticed things. Who controlled which tables. Who passed contraband without ever touching it. Who guards avoided eye contact with. In Angola, curiosity can be mistaken for disrespect, and disrespect has consequences that never reach paperwork. Lieutenant Daniel Harper had seen this pattern before. A 20-year veteran of Angola, Harper arrived at the scene with his jaw clenched tight. The farm crews were already lined up, heads down, eyes fixed on the dirt. No one spoke. No one needed to. What happened? Harper asked. No answer. The medical examiner later noted blunt force trauma. No weapon recovered. No witnesses. A death that seemed to come from nowhere, and everywhere at once. Marcus Reed had been assigned to the fields, one of the few jobs that offered sunlight and a fragile sense of normalcy. Some inmates chose the farms to escape the cell blocks, where tension brewed in close quarters. Others chose the chapel, religion offering protection when nothing else could. And then there were those who survived by becoming invisible. Marcus did none of the three. In the weeks before his death, he had been moved twice. Cellmates requested transfers. One guard filed a vague report mentioning unusual behavior. Nothing actionable. Nothing concrete. At Angola, paperwork often arrives after funerals. Harper reviewed surveillance footage that showed Marcus walking alone toward the fields that morning. No one followed. No struggle caught on camera. It was as if the prison itself had swallowed him whole. Then Harper noticed something else. Marcus had stopped attending meals 2 days earlier. He had given away his extra food. His boots, found near the body, were missing their laces, a quiet signal inmates use when they believe trouble is coming. Marcus knew something was wrong. And whatever it was, it scared him enough to prepare. When Harper checked Marcus's cell, he found the mattress torn open. Inside was a folded scrap of paper, hidden deep in the stuffing. Just 3 words, written in uneven pencil marks. I saw it. No names. No explanations. But in a place like Angola Prison, those words carried more weight than a confession. And when Harper realized what Marcus might have seen, and who stood to lose everything if the truth surfaced, he understood one thing clearly. Marcus Reed didn't die by accident, and whoever was responsible was still watching. Lieutenant Daniel Harper didn't file the note as evidence right away. In Angola Prison, paperwork had a way of disappearing when it made the wrong people uncomfortable. Instead, he folded the scrap of paper into his wallet, feeling the rough pencil marks through the leather as if the words themselves were alive. I saw it. 3 words that meant nothing on the surface, and everything underneath. By midday, rumors had already begun to move through the prison faster than any official announcement. Inmates whispered during head counts. Farm workers avoided the spot where Marcus Reed's body had been found. Even the guards felt it, an unease that settled into the air like humidity before a storm. Harper started with Marcus's last known movements. He pulled work logs, meal records, and housing assignments. Marcus had been transferred from cell block C to D less than a week before his death. Official reason: routine rebalancing. Unofficial reality: cell block C belonged to someone powerful. His name was Isaiah Red Coleman. Red wasn't the biggest man in Angola, but he didn't need to be. Serving multiple life sentences, he had been inside longer than most of the guards working the tiers. He controlled favors, protection, and access to contraband with the efficiency of a seasoned executive. Violence was a last resort. Fear did the work for him. Marcus had shared a cell 2 doors down from Red. Harper requested an interview. Red arrived calm, hands folded, eyes steady. The kind of man who knew exactly how much to say, and how much to leave unsaid. Marcus kept to himself, Red said. Quiet guy. Didn't bother nobody. Yet 3 inmates asked to move away from him, Harper replied. Why? Red smiled slightly. In a place like this, people move for all kinds of reasons. The interview went nowhere. No threats. No slips. But Harper noticed something else. Red's boots were spotless. No mud. Not a single trace of the fields. Marcus had died in the mud. That night, Harper received a call that made his stomach drop. One of Marcus's former cellmates, an inmate named Thomas Slim Avery, had been rushed to the infirmary. Severe injuries. Official report: fall down the stairs. Harper arrived to find Slim barely conscious, face swollen, ribs wrapped tight. Guards stood just outside the door, eyes fixed forward. No one wanted to be there. Slim's eyes fluttered open when Harper leaned in. His voice was barely a whisper. Did Marcus tell you? Harper didn't answer. Slim swallowed hard. He saw the night run. Angola had its routines, but it also had its exceptions. A night run was an unofficial movement, after lockdown off the books. Something that wasn't supposed to happen. What did he see? Harper asked. Slim's breathing grew shallow. His eyes darted to the door, then back. Men leaving the tier. Guard keys. Boxes coming back lighter. Contraband. Or worse. Before Harper could ask more, a nurse interrupted, saying Slim needed rest. When Harper returned the next morning, Slim had been transferred to a different housing unit. No forwarding location provided. Harper pushed harder. He reviewed key logs, something rarely scrutinized unless forced. One officer's name appeared more than it should have during overnight hours. Sergeant Paul Keegan. A respected guard. Clean record. Close to retirement. When Harper requested Keegan's schedule, his supervisor hesitated. Just long enough to notice. 2 days later, the sugarcane fields were locked down. A routine inspection, they said. But inmates noticed the metal detectors, the K9 units, the sudden urgency. Something had spooked the administration. Then Harper received another call. This time, it wasn't an inmate. It was Sergeant Keegan's wife. Her voice trembled as she spoke. My husband didn't come home last night. His car's still in the staff lot. When they opened Keegan's locker, they found his uniform neatly folded. His badge was missing. So were his keys. And tucked behind the locker's back panel, barely visible unless you knew where to look, was another folded scrap of paper. 3 words, written in the same uneven hand. He knows too. The prison went into lockdown before sunrise. Sirens echoed across the fields, cutting through the fog that clung to the sugarcane like a shroud. Every gate slammed shut. Every movement froze. Angola Prison, a place built to contain chaos, was suddenly afraid of what was already inside. Lieutenant Daniel Harper stood outside the administrative wing, staring at the second note laid out on a metal table. Same handwriting. Same pressure marks. Same message of warning disguised as fact. He knows too. Sergeant Paul Keegan had vanished without a trace. No sign of struggle. No blood. Just an empty locker and missing keys. Keys that could open doors no inmate should ever pass through after dark. Harper followed the paper trail the administration, hoped no one would notice. Maintenance requests filed and approved at odd hours. Farm equipment logs altered by hand. A private storage shed near the far edge of the property, officially used for tools but rarely inspected. The shed sat beyond the fields, close to the tree line where the prison met swamp. When Harper arrived with a search team, the lock was already broken. Inside, the air was thick with oil and rot. Crates lined the walls, some empty, others half filled with supplies that didn't belong in a prison. Cell phones, sealed medication packs, cash vacuum wrapped in plastic. And beneath a tarp in the corner, they found Keegan. He was alive, but barely. Bound, dehydrated, eyes sunken with exhaustion. He didn't speak until the medics lifted him onto a stretcher. I tried to stop it, Keegan whispered. They said it was already decided. Harper knew who they were before the words left Keegan's mouth. Isaiah Red Coleman hadn't built his power through violence alone. He built it through cooperation. Guards who wanted favors, administrators who wanted quiet shifts, systems that preferred silence to scandal. Marcus Reed had seen the night run. The boxes. The keys. The truth that Angola wasn't just failing to control contraband. It was helping move it. Marcus hadn't threatened anyone. He hadn't needed to. Knowing was enough. By the time Harper returned to cell block D, Red's cell was empty. A routine transfer, they said. Another administrative shuffle. But Harper noticed the detail others missed. Red had left his mattress behind. When officers cut it open, they found the final piece. A folded note, addressed not to an inmate, but to the prison itself. You can't lock what you built. Red was captured weeks later at another facility, moved under heavy supervision. Officially, Marcus Reed's death was ruled a homicide by unknown assailants. Sergeant Keegan recovered, quietly reassigned. No press conferences. No headlines. Angola returned to its routines. But the unspoken code remained. Inmates still watched where they sat. Guards still avoided certain corridors. And every now and then, a man would go silent, transferred, isolated, erased from the rhythm of daily life without explanation. Harper requested a transfer 6 months later. He never said why. Years after Marcus Reed was buried in a numbered grave, a new inmate arrived on a rattling bus. As he stepped onto the tier, an older prisoner leaned close and whispered the only rule that mattered. Don't see what you're not supposed to see. Because inside Angola Prison, survival isn't about strength. It's about silence. And if you think this story was intense, you're not ready for the next one.